Thought I'd make another video to testify how the Catholics have got the Trinity wrong and Protestants have followed in their footsteps and got it wrong also. So what is the Trinity? There is a Trinity, and the Trinity is God, but there's not one God and three persons. There's one God, the Father, one Spirit, the Spirit of God, and one soul or person, the Son of God. And that's the Trinity, that's the true Trinity. The essence of God is the Father, and the Son and the Spirit abiding of the Father, are one with the Father. They are of that essence. But they are limited by their nature and by their purpose. For God is omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent. Did I say omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent? I might have said omnipotent twice, or maybe not, maybe I got it right. I'm not sure. But those three things, all powerful, all present, and all knowing. And because they've got the Trinity wrong, they've also got the nature of Christ wrong. For they say that Christ has a human nature and a divine nature, making him two. That means he existed in heaven in all his glory, even when he was a man on earth, in human form as a slave of righteousness. But the Son of God already had a soul, or he already was a person and had a soul nature or person nature, so he could easily become man. He didn't need to be a composite of divine nature and human nature. He's just human nature. And soul nature, like a person. He has a spirit, he has a soul, he has an essence, just like people, and he has a body, just like people. People have a spirit, a soul, and a body, and an essence. If you can say they have an essence, which is from God. Maybe not. Maybe people don't have an essence because we're not one with the Father. But Jesus, the essence of Jesus is of the Father. So you can call Jesus Jehovah. That's a divine name. You can call him by his divine name, Jehovah. But Jehovah is a name for the Father and the Spirit and the Son. All three can go by that name because they're a Trinity. Therefore, Jesus can go by that name. And when Jesus became man, he wasn't two. He didn't become two. But he actually came down from heaven, as he said. And then he was with us. And then he ascended back to heaven with the Father, as he said. He wasn't lying. And what was I saying? Let me think. I might have said everything I wanted to say about that. But yeah, Jesus was just one, and he was one with the Father. His essence, he was one in essence with the Father. They're a Trinity, but the Father's not a person and the Spirit's not a person, but the Father's God. That's his nature is God. He's not a person. The Son's in nature a person, and the Spirit in nature is a spirit. That's the true Trinity, and they're divine and one with the Father. That's how you define the Trinity, not as one in essence or substance and three in persons, because that makes them all equal, and they're not all equal. That reminds me what I was going to say. So I said earlier that the Spirit of God and the Son of God is limited by their nature and their purpose. So the Son of God's not omnipresent. That is all everywhere at once. All present rather. But he has locality as a human person or soul. But his Spirit's omnipresent. The Spirit's omnipresent. And the Son isn't omniscient either. That is all-knowing. Because he doesn't know the day or hour of the Father, of his return rather. But only the Father knows that. But he still knows all things. He knows our thoughts and the thoughts of all men. He has that power. Even as a man, he had that power. And he was fully human. But because he was also God, he had that power. And the Spirit's omnipresent. I'm not sure if the Spirit's omniscient, that is all-knowing or not. Would the Spirit know the day and hour of the Lord's return, of Christ's return? Perhaps not, because Christ has the Spirit, and if the Spirit knew, then Christ would know. But only the Father knows. So the Spirit isn't omniscient either, all-knowing. But he doesn't know the day or hour of the Lord's return. So that's just about it. Catholics aren't true Christians, neither are Protestants true Christians, because they don't believe in the true Trinity. They believe in a false Trinity. They believe that Jesus is equally God and the Spirit's equally God with the Father. But the Father's God, and the Spirit's a manifestation of God's Spirit, and the Son of God, Jesus, is a manifestation of God's person or soul. That's the true Trinity. So hopefully if you see this, look into it. Don't think it's something to take lightly, but look into it, because It changes fundamentally who you believe God is and what you believe God is. And to have a true understanding of God, that's the will of God. He wants you to have a true understanding of Him. So if you go to Scripture, you'll find that what I'm saying is true, and that God isn't three in one in essence or substance and three in person. But that's false. Jesus said, I and the Father are one. Believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me, or else believe on account of the works themselves. He's looking to the Father. He's teaching us to look to the Father, to believe that He is who's God. For His divinity, and not the one essence which He shares with the Father and Spirit, which is incorrect. Now, I was going to say something, but I can't remember what it was. So look into it and come have fellowship with me. We'll do Zoom chat or something like that, so we can have fellowship, because I've got no one to fellowship with, because nobody shares my beliefs. So I need people to come and believe. It's the truth, so you shouldn't be afraid of it. You should embrace it. So I remember now what I was going to say. So the Apostle John in the Gospel of John says that nobody has seen God, but the only begotten God, that is Jesus, He has declared Him. Nobody's seen God. That means that wasn't God that Adam saw in the Garden of Eden in the beginning. It wasn't God, the true, wasn't the Father that He saw in the garden. It wasn't the Father in the garden in the beginning. It wasn't the Father that's called God in the beginning in the Old Testament. But that was Jesus, but He's called God in the Old Testament because He's a Trinity. But that's not the true God. The true God's the Father. That's the essence of God. He has all the attributes of God: omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. That is all-knowing, all-powerful, all-present. Well, I should say them in the correct order. So omniscient, that's all-knowing; omnipotent, all-powerful; and omnipresent, that's all-present. So you don't get confused, because I'm saying them in one order and then they're giving the meaning in the other order, which isn't very good. Once you know the true Trinity, you'll be able to recognize the Son, because the Son's any angelic or human form of God. He takes an angelic or human form. When you see God in the Old Testament in human form or angelic form, that's God, that's the Son of God, that's Jesus Christ. So it was Jesus in the garden in the beginning, walking in the spirit of the day when Adam and Eve ate from the forbidden fruit. And it was Jesus that uttered the words that initiated creation, the Spirit bringing creation into existence. That's about everything I wanted to say. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye.